Flutter, an open-source UI toolkit to build native mobile, web, and desktop apps from a single codebase. In this video, I'll show you how to install, configure, and finally launch a Flutter app on the Android emulator. We're going to install it on Windows, but the process is very similar for macOS and Linux users. Before we start, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you think about Flutter down in the comments. Let's get started and install Flutter. The very first step is going to be about installing Git and cloning the Flutter repo. To do so, head over to the URL you see here, download the Git installer for Windows, and go through the installation wizard. The default settings of the installation wizard should work really good for most of you. Now that we have successfully installed Git, we can open a terminal and type the following to download Flutter to our system. Download speed will, of course, depend on your internet connection. Now it's time to set up the Windows environment variables so that we can run Flutter. In order to do so, open your search box and type env. Open the Edit the System Environment Variables. Next, click on Environment Variables and under Users, select Path. From there, click Browse and go through your directories until you find your Flutter bin folder. Make sure then you click OK on every window until every single one closes in order to save the changes. Now you should be able to open the terminal and type Flutter doctor to run a check and see if Flutter has been installed successfully on the system. Once it's done, it's gonna take a while. You should see an output similar to mine. Next, let's install Android Studio and the Android SDK and make sure that everything is set up correctly. First of all, open your browser and go to the link you see here. Next, click on Download Android Studio. Make sure you accept the agreements and you can start the download process. It's gonna take a while, so be patient. Once it's done, open the file, click Next, Next, and make sure you have both options selected here. Go ahead and Next and install Android Studio. Now it's time to configure it. We aren't going to import any settings. We're gonna go ahead, we're not gonna send any analytics to Google, and click Next. And go for a custom installation. Default is good here. I'll select the dark theme and make sure you have all the options selected here. Finally, let's go ahead, hit finish and install all the components. This is gonna take a while as well, so be patient. Once finished, hit finish and we can go ahead and do one last thing. Click on More Actions, SDK Manager, and make sure you go to the SDK Tools tab. Make sure you select the Android SDK and the Android SDK command line tools and hit Apply. Then we need to accept the agreements. Make sure you accept both and click Next. This is also going to take a while to download these two components. Now that we have successfully installed Android Studio, we're gonna see how to set up the Android emulator. In Android Studio, select More Actions, AVD Manager, and Create Virtual Device. Select the device you want. I'm gonna go with Pixel 4 and hit Next. Now we need to download the Android version. This is a pretty large download. It's gonna take a bit. Let's be patient and wait until it's over. Now that's finished, let's click Finish and make sure you select the Android version you have downloaded, hit Next and then finish the setup. You can now click the play button to launch the emulator. You should see the device frame pop up and Android should boot in a second. In order for Flutter to be 100% installed, we need to accept the Android licenses. So let's open the Windows terminal and type Flutter Doctor. You should see an output that tells you that there is an issue. As you can see here, it is telling us that we need to run Flutter Doctor -- Android licenses. So I'm going to copy and paste the command and launch it. You will see that we need to type Y and enter multiple times until we accept every single license. After that, we can run Flutter Doctor again to make sure that everything is set up correctly, as you see here. Flutter is now completely installed on the system. Let's see how we can create a Flutter project in Android Studio. Let's go ahead and open Android Studio again, then click on Plugins and make sure you have the Flutter plugin among there, or search for it, click Install, Accept, and install again. Let's relaunch the IDE, and now we're all set. You can see now that we have a new option called New Flutter Project. Click on that, select Flutter, and let's locate the Flutter SDK. That is the Flutter folder. Be careful, not the bin one, the Flutter folder in your home directory. Click Next, give a name to your app, and leave the rest as is. Finish, and then it's gonna create and open the project for us. Now that it has loaded, we can click on the project to view every single file. Let's go ahead and open the main.dart file in the lib folder. We can now go to the No Devices Selected and select our emulator. You will see it will launch, and then we can click the green arrow to actually run our app on the emulator. The compile time is gonna take a bit, especially the first time, so be patient, and if no error shows up, you should be able to see your first Flutter app running on your emulator. This is it, you're now running Flutter and you're fully equipped to start building your own Flutter apps. Not everyone enjoys Android Studio, so let's see how to get the same functionality out of Visual Studio Code. Let's download it by opening a browser and pasting this link you see here. Click Enter and download it for Windows. Open the file and go through the installation wizard. It is really straightforward. You just need to accept the agreement and hit Next until it's done. Next, we need to enable Flutter, so go to Extensions and look for the Flutter extension. Make sure you select the right one and install it. Now that it's done, we can close everything we don't need and go to View, Command Palette, and here if you start typing Flutter, you will see the option Flutter New Project coming up. Select that, select Application, choose the folder you want to save the project in, and choose the name for your application. In my case, it's going to be My App. Hit OK, make sure you trust the folder, and then it's going to generate your Flutter project. At this point, you can go to the emulator list and make sure you launch your Android emulator. And then we can finally go ahead and go to our Run and Debug tab and click Run and Debug. It's gonna take a second again to compile it, but eventually the app will launch on the emulator. and we're also completely set up with our Visual Studio Code. So thanks for watching so far, guys. I hope you have successfully installed Flutter on your system right now and you are ready for the upcoming tutorials, which will cover more technical and deep aspects of the Flutter framework. If you haven't already, you cannot live without liking and subscribing, because there's gonna be way more content on Flutter in the following weeks.